Freak here with a video that I kind of wanted to make as kind of a response to one of my own videos. So about 3 weeks ago I made a What's Up with Torg and What's Up with TDR video where I looked at unique, legendary, pearlescent, etc. weapons from the Torg and TDR manufacturers. I was planning on doing one for Hyperion and Bandit/Scav in the next couple weeks, but I ended up getting not one but two jobs, so I haven't had time to do that. But looking at this, these two videos have not gotten a lot of views despite how long they've been out. So I thought I would do something a little bit different. Rather than looking at a manufacturer, I thought it'd be better to look instead at a weapon type. Now, I could easily do a top 10 video, but let's be honest, that's been done to death, and a lot of people can do it better. If you want to see a top 10 video on shotguns, I'd recommend checking out Vinyl like Puma. Just throwing that out there. Tell them I sent you. What I would like to do is to look at some of the better shotguns in Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the PreSequel, tell you why they're good and who I think they'd be good on. Now obviously this is going to be my opinion, and so you are welcome to disagree. If there's a shotgun I didn't include that you think is better, please let me know and I'll make sure I do and amend them. That being said, there are a lot of shotguns to get through, but most of them have varying degrees of good. So let's start it off with some of the blue guns that are all basically just upgrades of blue rarity weapons, starting with the Rock Salt. The Rock Salt is obtainable from the mission Splinter Group in Borderlands 2, which compared to other bandit shotguns has increased reload speed, accuracy, damage, and fire rate. As you can see, with 2.5 seconds on this level 37 gun, it has a really good reload speed, not only for a shotgun, but for a bandit shotgun. It also has a really cool skin, in my opinion. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like painted in blood, though I would not be surprised if it was, since it's a bandit gun. The Rock Salt is really nice. You can get it fairly early in the game. Once you rescue Roland from Warden, which, by the way, this should not be a surprise because Borderlands 2 has been out since 2012. This is not a spoiler, people. It's been long enough. Once you rescue Roland from the Warden, you can obtain the Splinter Cell mission from Tannis, so making this a really easy shotgun to farm for. I would recommend trying to get one. It's pretty decent, and worst case scenario is if you don't like it, you can just sell it, but it's actually pretty nice for an early game shotgun. Similarly is the Dog. The Dog can be obtained from Assassin Roof at Southpaw Steam and Power, as well as at Digistruct Peak. It has increased base damage, fire rate, and magazine size, and can come in all elements, except for explosion. Again, this is a relatively easy shotgun to get because you can obtain Assassinate the Assassins as early as just reaching Sanctuary. Or if you just go to Digistruct Peak, he appears either at the end of the earlier levels or about a third of the way through the later levels. The Dog's a pretty decent shotgun, and considering how easy it is to get, if you're trying to get a good shotgun in order to farm for stronger shotguns, this might be a good choice. Similar to the Dog is the Jolly Roger, a unique shotgun obtained from Just Desserts for Desert Deserters, which is a side quest in Captain Scarlet and Her Pirate's Booty DLC. Basically, you can get this soon after completing the 2 Easy Pieces story mission. It has an increased pellet count, a fixed spread pattern, and that spread forms a skull and crossbones pattern. Because of its fixed pattern, makes it really easy to predict where the pellets are going to go, making it a lot easier to score critical hits, and, like previously mentioned, it has an increased pellet count at 18 with a non-vertical grip. that's pretty good. If you're at close range, a single shot on a slagged target right in their crit spot can kill most enemies in maybe 2 or 3 hits tops. Given that it's also a bandit shotgun, you've got a pretty nice magazine to work with there. Though, again, because of the low accuracy of being a bandit weapon, you're going to want to be fairly close up. It's a pretty decent shotgun with kind of a cool skin. It looks kind of like a faded gold with the Captain Scarlet symbol on the barrel. It's pretty nice. Next up is a weapon from Borderlands the PreSequel, which is the Boganella. It is a scav shotgun, scav being basically the same thing as bandit, obtained from the Another Pickle mission where you save Pickle's sister. It has slightly increased damage, higher magazine, higher fire rate, accuracy, and pellet count, and it has a unique voice module. I believe this is the gun that basically swears at you when you kill things with it. It is not the most amazing gun in the game. However, if you're a fan of things like the rock salt, as well as if you're a fan of the rock salt, if you're a fan of the Hydra, not the Hydra, excuse me, if you're a fan of the Captain Scarlet gun I just looked at, stuff like that, this is a relatively good gun. And the Another Pickle mission is actually pretty damn easy. Plus, if you want to farm Red Belly, you can complete this mission on the way to farming Red Belly. So it's a relatively easy gun to obtain, and it's pretty nice. I would say it's kind of that equivalent of like the rock salt. Next up we have the Bullpup. The Bullpup is the only Hyperion shotgun in this blue section that I'm starting off with. Basically, you can obtain it as a loyalty reward for having a Borderlands save file on one's hard drive. If you do not have a Borderlands save file, you can create the Bullpup through say Cheat Engine, Super Funtime Engine, or Border Tool. This weapon is exclusive to Borderlands the PreSequel, and kind of similarly to the Boganella, it has increased magazine size, it has increased accuracy, fire speed, reload speed, and this, as a Hyperion shotgun, does have increased critical hit damage. It's not the most amazing shotgun in the world, but for an early game shotgun, as a blue Hyperion shotgun, this will probably last you during the opening missions, or at least at minimum until you meet Janie. Next, finally, of the blue shotguns in this section is the Triquetra. The Triquetra, being a triple barrel shotgun, consumes 3 ammo per shot, and it has an increased damage and number of pellets that fire in a Triquetra shape. If you're not familiar with what a Triquetra shape is, it's basically that. I'm familiar with this being referred to as a Gorgon's knot, or a knot, I think it's a Gorgian knot, though I believe the actual symbol I'm thinking of is different. The Triquetra, similar to the Jolly Roger, makes it really predictable to figure out where the pellets are going to go, and because it has a higher damage for its level, it makes it easy to hit things. This can be obtained from Clan War, End of the Rainbow, meaning it's available probably around your level 15 to 20, depending on when you do the missions. As you can see here, the one obtained by the user who uploaded this image was at level 18. So if you want a good kind of mid-story shotgun without having to farm for something, this might be a good shotgun for you. Next up are 2 purple shotguns that I want to cover. Now, I realize I have not been talking about who these shotguns are good on. I will do that in just a moment after I cover the Quad and the Ravager. The Quad is a Jacobs shotgun with the Torg barrel, meaning it has the 4 barrels. Meaning it has a really high pellet count, considering Jacobs has high damage, good accuracy, and a increased crit damage bonus. The quad is amazing, and if you're planning on doing speed runs, a quad and or a Ravager are basically key to having a good speed run. I have been able to find quads as early as level 10. It's basically around the time you're able to get to Sanctuary, you can start finding quads. And let me tell you, finding a quad can last you easily 6 or 7 levels early game, and finding a good quad in the higher levels, like at least level 50 or higher, can last you a good 2 or 3 levels. It's just a phenomenal shotgun. The Ravager is kind of similar, and you probably all know how much I love the Ravager. The Ravager is essentially the Torg version of the quad. It consumes a high amount of ammunition for its fire, but it does a huge amount of damage. The quad also, because it's a Torg weapon, gains grenade damage bonuses as well as explosive damage bonuses. While the quad is better on characters like Nisha, Zero, Salvador, etc., the Ravager is better on characters like Claptrap, Axton, Krieg, and to an extent Wilhelm, because not Wilhelm, sorry, Aurelia, because her cryo damage gives bonuses to explosive damage. The other shotguns I have covered so far will work on basically any character. Again, those are basically just good shotguns that are easy to get. They can work on really any character, though your best chances are probably going to be using the Borderlands 2 shotguns with Zero because of his high weapon bonuses and critical hit bonuses, making shotguns just absolutely deadly with him. Next up is the Flakker. The Flakker consumes 4 ammo per shot, but has increased damage, extremely large spread, and the rounds detonate after reaching a certain distance in the air. This is essentially, as its name implies, the equivalent of the anti-aircraft or the anti-flying gun. It can be obtained from the Warrior or the Handsome Sorcerer, or the even more disgusting Torque, found in Borderlands 2, the Tiny Tina campaign, or from the PreSequel, respectively. The Flakker, because of its projectile spread, is best if used on flying enemies like Rakfids and Rak, and heck, even buzzards. What's really cool is due to a glitch in the game. If you switch, not really a glitch, but just a programming thing in the game, if you switch to a Torg rocket launcher while these projectiles are still detonating, those projectiles will change their weapon damage to the weapon damage of the rocket launcher. So, essentially, if you are being completely swarmed by enemies, you can fire the Flakker into the swarm, switch to your Torg rocket launcher, and everything dies. It does have kind of a low fire rate, so don't plan on using it to spam the air. Just kind of use it as a fire once, switch to a rocket launcher, and watch things take a load of damage. The Flakker is best used on Axton, Krieg, Claptrap, and probably Wilhelm, to be honest, due to Wilhelm having I don't know, Wilhelm has issues with finding good gear. Basically, everything on Wilhelm is either crap or amazing. I have enough experience with Wilhelm, I know this for sure. Everything on Wilhelm is either crap or amazing. The Flakker is a good gun for him. Next up is the Heartbreaker. The Heartbreaker can be obtained from the Safe and Sound mission in Caustic Caverns, as well as a random world drop in the PreSequel. It has increased projectile count, increased fire rate, a hidden, I guess you could say, 50% critical hit damage boost, and is always fire. Unfortunately, it has a decreased damage and magazine size for a shotgun, and cannot spawn with a sight. However, the increased projectile count always shoots in a heart-shaped pattern, which, as we've said with other guns that have a similar projectile spread in a set shape, makes it easier to land critical hits. Also, because it's a Moxie weapon, it returns 2% of the damage you dealt as health to you. Also, the critical hit bonus, as you can see, this little accessory right here that adds 50% critical hit damage actually boosts that up to plus 100% critical hit damage because the two stack. So if you do not want to have the vertical grip on your shotgun, having the critical bonus is actually a good way of kind of making up for the damage you lost for having just a lower base damage shotgun. The Heartbreaker is phenomenal, especially in Borderlands 2. It can be obtained pretty early in the game, basically as soon as Sanctuary gets in the air and you're able to return to your friends. You can obtain this gun before the Natural Selection mission, before you have to go to the Wildlife Exploitation Preserve, and you can basically just own town, blasting your way through the Rack, the Stalkers, and the, what are they called? Skags. Just a phenomenal shotgun, and it's one of the best Moxie weapons. Obviously, it's not as good as the Grog Nozzle and the Ruby, but the Heartbreaker is phenomenal. Next up are two shotguns that are related, and those are the Octo and the Omen. The Octo can be obtained from the mission Slap Happy in Borderlands 2 and the mission Lab 19 in Borderlands the PreSequel. The Octo fires 8 pellets in a 3x3 pattern where the center left pellet is missing. The bullets are kind of slow moving and fly in a sine wave pattern, leaving behind a trail. However, it's a TDR shotgun, and because it has a predictable pattern of moving, it makes it easier to land crits. Figuring out where exactly the projectiles converge into one place can allow you to get a pretty nice critical hit bonus if you're able to line it up right. Unfortunately, as TDR weapons go, your reload is not amazing due to the low magazine size. But if you're not looking to use it basically exclusively for the reload, it works out pretty well. It's similarly to the shotguns I talked about at the very beginning. It's a fairly easy to obtain shotgun, and because of its ability, it makes it easy to land crits. So it might be worth the effort if you want a good TDR weapon. Next up is, like I mentioned before, is the Omen, which is a Seraph E-Tech shotgun, and is one of the only good E-Tech shotguns, which fires 9 E-Tech bullets in a pattern, which is basically 8 bullets in a circle and 1 in the center. At reduced ammo cost, most E-Tech shotguns have increased ammo cost, but these projectiles only cost 1 bullet total. It has a similar expanding and contracting pattern to the Octo, except because it's an E-Tech weapon and it's a Seraph weapon, does significantly more damage. It has roughly the same size magazine as the Octo, making it kind of difficult to land your critical hits. Sorry, it has the same size magazine, making it difficult to have good TDR reloads. However, because of the pattern, you can get good critical hits. Literally, the Omen is just the Octo, but better. Unfortunately, it can only be obtained from the Dragons of Destruction in the Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon's Keep mission. Next up is the Twister. The Twister is a very well-known shotgun among the Borderlands community, as it is a unique Jacobs shotgun with an elemental capacitor. It fires a cluster of sphere projectiles that randomly transform into a tornado over a short distance, and it is always shock. These projectiles do benefit from grenade bonuses, making it good on Axton and Krieg. However, the shock bonuses also make it really nice with Gauge, especially since the projectiles don't really deviate that much if you have high Anarchy stacks. This is a phenomenal weapon on Anarchy Gauge, and the shock damage isn't slouching either. Basically, you can fire this weapon once and do a tremendous amount of damage to shields. Also, these projectiles benefit from bore, so this is a phenomenal shotgun on Creek 2. Because the swirling pattern of the bullets, the projectiles can bore enemies multiple times per projectile, and there are 17 projectiles in the base version of the gun, not counting the one with the vertical grip. that would boost up to 19. So you can do a phenomenal amount of damage with Gauge or Krieg, as well as I believe I am being accurate when I say it benefits from grenade damage bonuses, though I could be wrong. Next up is the Slowhand. The Slowhand is an E-Tech shotgun. What? Another one that can be obtained from Piston and or the Badassosaurus in the Torg Arena during the long way to the top. This weapon is a rare drop in normal Vault Hunter, though in True Vault Hunter and Ultimate Vault Hunter modes, it is almost guaranteed. It fires a slow-moving E-Tech projectile that is unaffected by gravity, unlike other E-Tech weapons. It just fires in a straight line, that has a high elemental effect chance and huge splash damage, plus it heals you for 3.5% of the damage dealt while holding this weapon. Because it's an E-Tech, you're not going to be able to get crit bonuses on it. However, because of the high elemental damage and because it's a really good shotgun, this is an amazing weapon on Krieg, as well as a really good weapon on Maya, especially for just pumping out elemental damage. I really wish the Slowhand was available in PreSequel because this would be an amazing shotgun on Athena. The last E-Tech weapon on this list is the Sword Explosion, which is obtained from the Sword and the Stoner mission in the Tinatina Attack on Dragon's Keep DLC, and is the only repeated E-Tech weapon created by Torg. It fires a sword-shaped projectile that explodes on impact, spawning 3 smaller swords, and which also explode on contact. Basically, it fires MIRV grenades, which is kind of cool, at the cost of consuming 2 ammo per shot. It normally fires only 1 sword, though with the vertical grip making it a casual prefix, it bumps up to firing 3 swords. This is a phenomenal weapon, again on Krieg and Axton, though it works really well on Zero as well. It does phenomenal damage, and it's just kind of cool because it's the only Torg E-Tech shotgun. The only Torg E-Tech weapon, as well as being one of the 3 best E-Tech shotguns, as I've already covered the other 2. Next up is the Striker. The Striker can be obtained as a rare drop from Slappy, so maybe when you're trying to earn your Octo shotgun, you might get one of these to drop. In PreSequel, it can also be obtained from a random loot source, though has an increased chance to drop from Red Belly in the PreSequel. Now, Jacob's weapons, have a critical bonus already. However, the Striker has an additional 50% critical hit bonus, as well as a 15% multiplicative critical bonus, and it has exceptional accuracy and minuscule spread. Plus, it has increased weapon zoom, regardless of whatever sight you're using. If you ever wanted a shotgun to snipe, this is the sniping shotgun. Due to that small spread, that zoom, and that really high critical hit bonus, this is a phenomenal shotgun for long range. Basically, this is the sniping shotgun, if you want one. And because of all of those combined critical hit bonuses, this is, as you've probably guessed by now, a phenomenal shotgun on Zero. This is a good shotgun on Salvador as well, because Salvador can, even though this has a small magazine, can reduce your chances of consuming ammo, as well as this is a phenomenal weapon on Jack, or Timothy Lawrence the Doppelganger from Borderlands the PreSequel, for the similar reason of having a smaller chance to consume ammo. This is also a really good weapon on Nisha, because Nisha has the ability to increase her magazine on things, giving you 3 shots instead of, giving you plus 3 ammo, giving you additional shots rather than just 2 ammo in the magazine. Adding a vertical grip will, of course, increase your projectile count by 2. However, it increases your spread, so while you will be able to hit with more projectiles, it will not hit as accurately because you have a wider spread. The Striker is a phenomenal shotgun, I would recommend getting it. Plus, because you can get it from either Red Belly or Old Slappy, it makes it easy to get fairly early in the game. Next up is the Conference Call. The Conference Call is obtained from the Warrior, as well as the Handsome Sorcerer, and is probably the legendary shotgun most people know best. It has a low projectile count at 5 projectiles per shot, 7 with a vertical grip, and each projectile generates additional projectiles upon impact or after going a certain distance. The Conference Call has actually a pretty good magazine size and pretty good, actually kind of reduced accuracy when compared to other shotguns. The Conference Call has a PreSequel equivalent called the Viral Marketer, which basically functions the same, except it can only come in corrosive. Though other than that, it's basically the same gun. The Conference Call is phenomenal for taking out large targets due to the just crazy number of projectiles flying through the screen. So it's good for taking down larger enemies, though similar to the Flacker, can be good at taking down flying enemies. This is good. This is a good shotgun on basically any character, though it's probably best on Salvador due to his ability to conserve ammo, Zero because he's able to get crits and bores off of all those projectiles, or Krieg because Krieg can basically give everything a massive magazine, and crazy fire rate, and Krieg just likes shotguns. I'll be honest, basically all these shotguns are good on Krieg. Next up is the second of the 3 Hyperion shotguns in kind of this weird trinity of shotguns, and that is the Interfacer. The Interfacer is a Seraph shotgun obtained from Veracitus the Invincible in Ultimate Vault Hunter, as well as in Normal and True Vault Hunter. It can be obtained from the Seraph Fender in Hunter's Grotto. This shotgun consumes 2 ammos per shot and fires slow-moving projectiles that spawn 2 additional projectiles in a horizontal row on either side of the original projectiles, which flare out and reconnect with their parent projectiles. No movement speed penalty. And there's no movement speed penalty when aiming down the sights. This is a lot of text to basically say it does something similar to the Octo and the Omen, and basically, if you're familiar with a pincer military maneuver, which I will Google really quickly. That is not what I thought would happen. Basically, the pincer movement is like this. Basically, your projectiles move like the arrows, and they converge at a point where they do a good amount of damage. This is a phenomenal weapon on Salvador because Salvador is able to consume less ammo, as well as get good fire rate and good damage bonuses in. Also, this is a pretty nice weapon on Zero as well, though it can be really difficult to get the hits you want, unless you're familiar with a weapon similar to this, like the Octo and the Omen. I'd recommend practicing with those 2 weapons first, because they are arguably easier to get. Also, as a side bonus, because even though you don't have a sight, aiming down sight gives you no movement speed penalty, so you're able to move at walking speed when aiming down sights. If used on Axton, he has an ability that increases movement speed while aiming down sights. If you have at least 5 out of 5 on this, you can get up to 11 out of 5 with a class mod. You're able to actually move faster than running while moving down sights. It's kind of a trippy thing. He can do something similar with the pistol called the Greed, available in the Captain Scarlet DLC. I'd recommend, if you want to be really, really fast with Axton, trying to check out either this or the Greed, though the Greed is easier to get. Finally, in the holy trinity of Hyperion shotguns is the Butcher, which is a pearlescent shotgun obtained from either legendary loot midgets and OMG, I think it's OMG WTF or OMG WTH, is the binary name. Oh, OMG WTH is the name for the enemy at the end of Digistruct Peak. The Butcher has a low projectile count even with the vertical grip, and has really high fire rate. It does have maximum compared to other Hyperion shotguns, it obtains its accuracy very quickly, and the magazine has a random chance to just refill itself with a random amount of ammo, meaning its magazine is completely random. And also the fire rate highly increases under sustained fire. This is an amazing weapon on Salvador and Krieg. Salvador because he has a chance to not consume ammo, and Krieg because Krieg's blood-filled guns can give him a ridiculously high magazine. On these two characters, you can basically just fire it almost indefinitely, and because you have the chances to restore ammo, not consume ammo, or just, have basically a magazine over 200, the Butcher is a great shotgun for just sustained fire. Personally, I like the conference call more because I find it easier to hit things with the conference call, but that's also because I have kind of a spray and pray approach. The Butcher is just a great shotgun. I would recommend trying it out. If you're willing to farm some legendary loot midgets, it's pretty easy to get. The only real downside is it is pretty rare because it is a pearlescent weapon, though again, legendary loot midgets aren't too difficult to farm if you do the Doctor's Orders side quest. I personally like the Butcher more than the Interfacer because I just find the rapid fire and variable magazine to be a better bonus than the Interfacer's projectiles. However, which of the three shotguns you prefer is up to you. The Interfacer is a great shotgun, the Conference Call is a great shotgun, and the Butcher is a great shotgun. I would recommend all three. Try them out, see how you like them. The Conference Call will be the easiest to get, though is arguably the weakest of the three. The Interfacer is probably the hardest to get, but is the strongest of the three. The Butcher is kind of that middle ground of relative easiness to get, though I find it to be an amazing shotgun, especially if you're using Krieg or Salvador. Check them out. We're in the home stretch here. We're looking at the Carnage. The Carnage is a pearlescent shotgun. Again, you have to have Ultimate Vault Hunter upgrade to the Digistruct Peak challenge. And it only drops from tubby enemies, meaning you have to track down a tubby, which only appear after reaching level 61 or higher on Ultimate Vault Hunter once you have the Digistruct Peak upload installed. Unlike most shotguns, it fires rockets. It has, for basically only like a couple ammo per shot, it fires rockets, but with higher damage and greater projectile velocity and explosion radius. With a vertical grip, it fires 3 rockets. Basically, if you want if you just want a Torque rocket launcher, but don't want to have to deal with the 32 rockets that Torque rocket launchers have, and instead you're like, you know what, I want a rocket launcher with more ammo. Hey, I don't use shotguns, let's try the Carnage. That's basically the Carnage. Also, the Carnage, as a Torque shotgun, does have kind of a low fire rate and a high reload speed, but it's a nice shotgun if you don't want to use rockets, and actually if you don't want to use shotguns and rockets, but you still want to have something equivalent to a rocket. I would not recommend trying to farm for this, however, if you find one, it's worth picking up. This is a great weapon in general, however, it does not receive grenade damage bonuses, unfortunately, meaning it, despite being an explosive weapon, doesn't actually work that well with Krieg and Axton. They do have skills that increase explosive damage, like Krieg's Strip the Flesh, though these are kind of moderate bonuses by comparison. It does not receive the grenade damage bonus, unfortunately. However, if you have fire rate bonuses, magazine size bonuses, reload speed bonuses, this just makes the shotgun even better. So check it out if you want. I don't recommend it for a specific character, though. If you're not a big fan of shotguns, and you find one, it might be worth using as kind of a substitute to a rocket launcher. Now we're in the home stretch. We're looking at weapons exclusively from PreSequel. First up is the Boomacorn. The Boomacorn is, I'll be honest, not an amazing shotgun, but it is a Jacobs shotgun. So as you know, it does kind of have it has increased damage, increased accuracy, and increased critical hit damage at kind of the downside of having a low magazine. The Boomacorn shoots a spread of 5 explosive projectiles, meaning they do not do non-elemental damage. However, the type of explosion they do is a random element, and you'll be able to tell the element based on the color of the projectile as it travels in the air, as well as the element it deals when it hits. Also, because they're explosive, they do benefit from grenade damage bonuses, making this a great weapon on Claptrap. Shots are also accompanied by a neighing sound, so, if you're into that kind of thing, it's kind of funny. I personally like using this on Claptrap, using high fire rate and reload speed to basically just neigh people to death with elemental hatred. This can also be a pretty nice gun on Nisha, due to her rapid reload speed, fire rate, and gun damage bonuses. So check out the Boomacorn if you want a nice shotgun that's not amazing. It's not amazing, but it's nice. Next up is the Moonface. The Moonface is another Jacobs shotgun that, in addition to doing non-elemental damage, also deals explosive damage. It deals explosive damage on impact. In addition, it has a really small magazine, though this can be made up with the Rustler's prefix, which gives it a vertical grip, adding on projectiles, adding on 2 projectiles. As always, with a Jacobs gun, it does receive critical hit bonus, and it does have good grenade damage. Sorry, not grenade damage. It does have good gun damage because, again, it's a Jacobs. However, because it deals explosive damage, put this on Claptrap. This is an amazing gun on Claptrap, as well as a pretty good gun for Wilhelm or Aurelia due to their ability to just slaughter frozen targets super fast. Not only that, but the Moonface's projectiles make a smiley face pattern, making it easy to predict where critical hits are going to land. So, if you want a good shotgun for Claptrap, Wilhelm, or Athena, or heck, even Nisha, this is a good gun on Nisha too, you can get it from the Red Then Dead mission at the Lunar Launching Station, about kind of 2/3 through the game in PreSequel. Next up is the Party Line. The Party Line is a TDR shotgun, and one of the only TDR shotguns really on this list, obtained from either round 4 of the Digistruct Madness, and basically the Holodome Onslaught, as well as the Badass round as a possible reward. It can also be dropped by Lost Legion Ascended Power Suits and the Guardian Pondors, making this a fairly easy shotgun to farm for. Basically, if you have the Holodome Onslaught, and if you're willing to put an hour or 2 of time into just playing through this, through the Digistruct Madness, you are basically guaranteed to get at minimum 1, if not 2 or more. The Party Line is always incendiary. It has really high gun damage, and fires projectiles that explode like fireworks, dealing splash damage. If you are a fan of the Flacker, this is basically the Flacker 2.0. With a vertical grip, it does boost that projectile count up to 7 as opposed to 5, though basically you're going to be doing so much damage, I'm not sure if it's really necessary. As a TDR weapon, it does have an effect when it's reloaded. However, unlike most TDR shotguns, which are just thrown like a grenade, if you're familiar with the Contraband Skyrocket grenade, available in both Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the PreSequel, This basically reloads like the Contraband Skyrocket. I am a big fan of the Skyrocket, so personally, I love this. I love this ability because I like shooting it just one time and then reloading it. Because, you know, free Skyrockets. This is a great gun if you're looking for a fire gun, fire shotgun. This is a great gun on Athena, and because of its bonuses, the grenade bonus of the reload, it's good on Claptrap, and it's actually pretty nice on Nisha as well, due to her ability to increase the magazine, thus increasing the TDR reload damage. Next up is the 2 Scoops, which is yet another Jacob shotgun. This can be obtained from turning in the Bunch of Ice Holes mission to Barbot, as opposed to Nurse Nina. Giving the Nurse Nina will give you the, I believe it's the Ice Scream, which is an assault rifle. Both of them are cryo weapons, however, so if you're looking for a cryo weapon, this is a good mission for you. The 2 Scoops, which you obtain from Barbot, is an always cryo shotgun, and all the parts are fixed for some reason. It does not come with a scope, and it does not come with the ability to have a vertical grip because all the parts are fixed. However, it fires 2 cryo-element grenade-like spheres that travel for a few seconds, inflicting damage to any targets in the path. So if enemies cross the projectile's path but don't get hit, they still can take some cryo damage, and then they explode, dealing grenade damage. This is a great gun on Aurelia due to the cryo bonuses. It's a nice weapon on Nisha because she's able to increase the magazine size, as well as a great gun on Claptrap because Claptrap has grenade bonuses. And these projectiles are treated as grenades. Basically, it's just a kind of a nice all-around gun. Unfortunately, you can only get 1 per playthrough because it's a quest reward, but if you're looking for a good cryo weapon, this is a good choice. Especially if you just want to cryo someone really quickly and then just take them down. Because it has, it's a Jacob, so it has good damage and, good accuracy. Well, good accuracy for a shotgun. Unfortunately, the version we're looking at here has lower accuracy, but that's mostly just because of the low projectiles. Next up is the Torquemada. The Torquemada, if you're not a fan of the Ravager, is kind of like a Ravager, except easier to use. The Torquemada is a unique shotgun obtained from the Torgo mission in PreSequel by throwing the light reactor into the lava, and is arguably the best reward compared to the Fire Starter. The Fire Starter. There we go. That is a hard gun name to pronounce. It fires 3 explosive projectiles in a fixed triangular spread, and each projectile produces a number of small delayed explosions on impact, kind of similar to the Flacker, except more predictable. It does a ton of damage, though, even though this is a level 17 one in the picture, it does a good amount of damage. It has a pretty nice magazine, even for a Torg shotgun, though, again, it's not using 4 ammo per shot, so maybe I'm just, a little biased there. And it basically is kind of the Ravager that is more, it's kind of similar to the Ravager, except it has a specific location you can get it from, and it kind of has, because of its delayed explosion ability, it's kind of like a Ravager with the ability of the Flacker. Again, this is a great gun on Wilhelm and Aurelia and Claptrap. Definitely worth picking up. Check it out. Especially since the Torgo mission is actually an early game mission, meaning you can get one of the best shotguns in the game really early in the story. Finally, we're looking at the Flare. And the Flare, I basically saved one of the best for last. The Flare is a shotgun obtained from the Claptastic Voyage DLC and has an increased chance to drop from viruses. I have killed a lot of viruses, and I have not gotten a Flare to drop. However, I did get a Flare to drop from EOS as my random legendary drop. It's a Jacob shotgun, so of course it has increased damage, increased recoil, unfortunately, low magazine, and it has the critical hit bonus. It consumes 2 ammo per shot, has a huge magazine when compared to other Jacob shotguns, has increased weapon damage, increased accuracy, and fires 15 bullets in a tight spread, or 17 with the vertical grip. Similar to how the Striker was kind of your sniping shotgun, the Flare is a good longer range shotgun, as well as being good at, short ranges too. And because it has a magazine of 9, gives you guaranteed 5 shots, though if you have a magazine bonus instead of the vertical grip, you can get 6 shots. This also works. This works as phenomenally as a shotgun with Nisha due to her gun damage bonuses, as well as her ability to add 3 ammo to any gun, as well as making this a good gun on Aurelia, letting you basically one-shot anything that's frozen. And this is basically the best gun for Jack. Jack has the Sponsored By ability at the bottom of his right tree, which lets you add kind of just various bonuses onto onto weapons when you switch from one weapon to another. If you switch from a Molly Wand weapon or a Torque weapon to the Flare, you can add on free, basically, free elemental or free explosive damage onto the Flare, making it even more powerful. If you go from a Jacob's weapon to this, it just gives you more damage. If you switch from a Vladoff or a Tedior, you'll get higher fire rate, not that you need it, on a not that you need it at all, or better reload speed. I personally like better reload speed. This is basically the pinnacle of guns for Jack / Timothy Lawrence, the doppelganger. Definitely pick one up. Though if you're using it on Nisha or Aurelia, this is a good weapon too. To be honest, this is just basically the best shotgun in PreSequel other than the Torquemada, or, the Quad or Ravager if you do not want a legendary equivalent. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I know this has been a long video. This has been, how long? Oh, wow, 47 minutes. I'm sorry. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, I'm Metagross Freak, and have a great one.